most of my marketing happens through Airbnb itself, or if I'm booked on VRBO or any other like short-term rental platform.
Welcome to the Michigan Real Estate Investor Network podcast, hashtag the network. This is episode 7, brought to you by Manzo Appraisals.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Michigan Real Estate Investor Network. My name is Blair Clark, and I am here with...
I'm Beets.
I'm Bogdan.
Frank Alcini.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Good. We all met up with Frank this morning, and we had an awesome breakfast at the pantry in Washington. So we're really, really full and lethargic and sluggish, but we're going to talk about some upbeat stuff today. So what I thought it would be cool to talk about today is marketing strategies, because we're all kind of in a different area in what it is that we're doing a little bit. Tio and I kind of have the same-ish sort of thing going on, except he is ahead of me. In so many different ways. So I want to hear what he's got going on. I want to hear from Frank, how he markets himself as an investor-focused CPA. And then from Bria, I want to hear about Airbnb from you. All right. So Tio, if you don't mind kicking us off, if you want to, I know you were on one of the first podcasts and then you were gallivanting across the planet. Being a digital nomad in Germany. And so while you were in Germany, what were you able to do? Like, I want to know how you were able to complete your marketing like remotely from a different spot in the planet.
Okay. Well, pretty much I just did what I did here, right? I mean, everything's over the internet that I do. So you don't really need, you don't need to be here to do anything to pretty much build your lists and schedule the delivery of your mail pieces. And the biggest thing that I did was, before I used to send out like a bulk mailing every month kind of, and I realized that you just get bombarded with all these calls, all these text messages, all this.
You send mail and then people call you?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna take notes afterward. What are you saying? Get these people to call you.
It's just a postcard, like a simple postcard.
I want to buy your house, bro.
Pretty much. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it just says I buy houses, and it's really simple. It pretty much just that, just I've actually come up with different ones than all the generic ones, because I feel like everyone just gets so many postcards that they're kind of like immune to it. So I've tried to make mine kind of funny. So that way it kind of like intrigues people. So I don't know if it's working very well or not, but
no, it must be. If people are calling you, because I send direct mailers, and I think I have like 3 out of probably 100, let's say 3% have actually like reached out to me. I'm sending mine and then calling everybody. So okay. That's awesome that you're doing that. Yeah, humor definitely works. That's cool. So you are doing postcards.
Yep, postcards. Okay. I used to do letters when I first started, and doing the writing and all that stuff. And I mean, I got a really good deal off of it, and it got a lot of calls off of it. And I'm still kind of working some of those deals from, back when I did letters. But it takes so much time. And the way I look at it is, if someone's trying to sell, they're going to sell to me if it's a letter or a postcard or whatever it is. If it's their time to sell, they're going to sell. So I don't think it really matters if it's a letter or postcard or something. Okay. Or how fancy it is.
So you use a service, I'm guessing. So you like pre-order your postcards, and so I don't know if you care to share the name of the company that you use or not. Whatever, that's up to you. But so just like describe, for the person that has never done an online marketing campaign before, whether you want to give the name of the company or not, just how would you even set that up?
Okay.
You can even call it like genericcompanyx.com.
No, I can share.
Okay.
So the first thing is obviously having a list and a good list, but you pretty much build it into a good list the more you mail, right?
Yep.
And I get my list. I'm a realtor, so I can get, I can use the MLS, generate some lists. I can use List Source. There's all sorts of different ways you can get a list, and probably get into that another time. But what I've been using REI Simply or something it's called. I found it on Bigger Pockets.
Okay.
And they're probably not the best and not the cheapest service, but I just started using them just to get the ball rolling, just so I wasn't sitting there like, okay, what am I using this for? What, just
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to execute.
Right? Even if it's more expensive or whatever it is. So, so I use them, and I pretty much do like 1,000 to 2,000 a week, and I set it up where I have 8 different lists, and I mail those lists every week, and then after I go through 2 months, then I redo it.
Yep.
And I mail it, I filter it through I take off the people that responded to me, the people that said take me off, and that's kind of just how I keep improving my list and making it better.
Yeah, because you've commented a couple of times how you scrub your list, which literally just means you go through and you clean it up. So is that something that you do personally? You sit down and you do that, or I know that you've hired like a virtual assistant to do certain things. What do you do hands-on, and then what do you outsource?
Okay, so if I need a list, if I just got a list with like a address, that's what I send to a VA, and they pretty much pull the owner name, owner address, all that stuff. Most of the leads that I've been getting have pretty much been coming with all that information, so it doesn't need to be further scrubbed. The mail house takes all the addresses, and they actually scrub the list for you, so they pretty much check to make sure that those people still live at the place, and it's like through the USPS, or they do it somehow. I don't know how they do it, but and then I haven't found a good way to actually like maintain my lists, so it's still like an Excel sheet, and I kind of go through and delete and add people off that list, and then I like re-upload it. So I need to figure out a better way to automate that, so it can be hands off and I don't have to do it all the time, because it sucks doing it all the time. I try to do like a month at a time. Like, okay, at the beginning of the month, I know these 4 lists I'm gonna mail, and then I send those to the mail house. But from a month or you never know. Like, people call you back from like 2 months ago. So sometimes it's like, okay, you got to pull this list off, pull this person off, or stuff like that. So I'm still working on finding a better way to manage the lists, because just managing them, once you're doing a lot of mailing, that's a chore in itself, so.
Yeah, I know, right on. Every time I feel like I've got a great way of like systematizing things, streamlining the process, like no, every time it kind of sucks the same in a different way than the last one did. And it's just marketing is a bear. If you insist on having your hands in it in any sort of capacity, it's just kind of a bear. And I just know, like, for my own self at this stage, just being a few years into it, like, I still really need to have my hands in it in a certain capacity, because, like, I'm an expert of nothing at this point. So there's a lot that I need to learn. So yeah, I wanted to ask you that because I just wanted to show that, like, you can still tackle marketing even if you are with a company that requires you to travel. So we were just kidding with Tio. Like, he's not gallivanting around the world. It was actually for work that you were over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can still have your side hustle, like in Macomb and Oakland County, Wayne County, wherever, the Tri-County area, from a different part of the world. You can do pretty much whatever, because there are different systems out there that you can tap into.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's really cool. That's really cool that you didn't have to just like hit the pause button and go elsewhere. Yeah. You could keep on going.
Plus, with cell phones nowadays, they call your number. They don't know that you're in another country, right?
Yeah.
That's other than if they call at a weird time, because there's a 6 or 7 hour time difference. But at the same time, it's like sometimes it does ring weird. So they might be like, "Hey, why is this ringing weird?" But other than that, no one can tell that you're in a different
German
country.
Operator on the phone.
Yeah.
Right on. So Bree, with your marketing strategy, you do things a little bit differently. So we're more focused. We were talking at breakfast, like how we're more focused on local marketing because we're trying to invest here in your local market. And you were saying like, no, I'm not going to market locally. Why would I? I'm bringing people who are coming in, travelers who are coming in
Right.
for your Airbnb. So if you want to just give like a, just a quick recap for people that are watching that might not have seen you before, like what are you doing with Airbnb? And then how do you structure your marketing for that?
Yeah, so I have a couple of different avenues that I use for Airbnb. One of them is rental arbitrage. So I rent from a homeowner like Tio. I've got one of his places.
That's cool.
And I go in and furnish the place, and then I rent it out on Airbnb.
Mhm.
And then I also manage some of them for other investors who they want to take the full profit. They don't just want to make rent. And so I'll just take a percentage of the profit, but I run everything for them. So they're paying for the home, they're paying for the furniture. And so because of that, most of my marketing happens through Airbnb itself, or if I'm booked on VRBO or any other like short-term rental platform.
Yeah, we use VRBO every summer. We book a lake house somewhere in northern Michigan on a lake, and we always use VRBO for that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So in there, it's really like I'm looking more at like I think what people traditionally think of as marketing as like gimmicks and like trying to catch people's eyes. So like I have a title that someone will see like a main picture of my property along with 100 others, and there will be a title with it. So I try to like focus on the title, and I may put like military discount, or if I don't want to do a discount, I could say like super close to Woodward Dream Cruise if my house is right there off Woodward Avenue and that's coming up. So most of my marketing happens within the platform, and then outside of the platform, for me, it's really just networking. I try to like really network with other people who are involved in Airbnb, other real estate investors, so I can find the homes to rent them. So I don't do very much marketing. There's really no cost associated with my marketing. So what I do, like you said, is just a little bit different.
Right. You're not going to be sending random mailers.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to go on platforms where people are going to that platform, searching out what you've got.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
cool.
And some hosts do market in their areas. They may like hook up with local businesses and try to get them to promote and get people to stay, because there are instances where even locals will need a place to stay. In our area, I am not one of the hosts that wants local guests to stay.
Right.
So I actually really want those out-of-staters. The people that come from other countries are my favorite. They're super nice. So I really stay away from any of that local marketing.
Yeah, because you had explained before that the local folk it's more like if you live in an area, why would you rent a hotel room in that same area?
Yeah, I don't want your shenanigans
right,
in my house.
Right. So if you can just associate whatever shenanigans would be from renting a hotel in your local area, kind of the same thing applies. Right
yes.
on. So I think like one of the best explanations for what is Airbnb arbitrage was when the attorney David Sobel explained it as what Travelocity does. They come in and they rent up like a block or a few floors of hotel rooms, and then they just rent it out on top of that. So obviously they're getting it at a certain rate, and then they're guaranteed that it'll be rented out, and then they're taking whatever percentage over that. So was that kind of like a good explanation that he gave?
Yeah, that's exactly. So I rent the home for $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and then I furnish it and put it on Airbnb, and I bring in $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And so obviously I pay my rent and my utilities, and the leftover goes to me. So the homeowner is not entitled to anything other than the standard rent that I pay as a standard tenant. And so the rest is mine.
Yeah. So on paper, it's kind of like wholesaling. Like when you first hear about wholesaling, you're like, oh, I want to do that because you're just, you don't have to like actually close on a home. So it sounds so easy to just lease a house and then rent it on Airbnb. But why is it not as glamorous or like streamlined as that?
Well, there's always things that come up. There's issues when you don't own the home. So, like, standard things that might go wrong in the home. Like, oh, by the way, the sink is leaking and the whole pipe is rusted out. Like, some of my homeowners are like, well, I technically have 30 days to fix that. So I'm going to take all 30 days. And I'm like, well, my guest is going to be here in 3 hours and I don't have 30 days. I can't tell my guests, by the way, like this bathroom you booked and thought you had, you don't actually have. So those are some of the issues we run into. And then it's so hard to please everyone. Airbnb is a customer service business. and there's no way around it. It's never going to be fully passive. And so you just get people who have these ridiculous expectations, or for lack of a better word, they whine about the most absolutely ridiculous things. And so it's just something that it's part of the business, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, it seems like the benefit would be you don't actually have to have the capital to close on the home to invest in as an Airbnb, but the pitfall would be you're like at the mercy of the homeowner, but you're still held to the same standard. Like you're rated the same.
Exactly.
Right on.
Which is why, like, having an investor as a landlord, I tell everyone, when you're looking for a place to rent, find an investor who has multiple properties and understands what you're trying to do, because they're going to be so much better. Like my place that I've got with Tio, and I always bring up Tio's place, but it really is the best because I'm like, hey, the sink pipe thing was actually like at Tio's, and he was like, yeah, I'll be over tomorrow to fix it. I had a similar issue at another one, and she was like, I'll call the plumber Monday and I'll see if we can get him out next month. And I was like, okay. So like $300 later, I had to pay to have a plumber come in and fix it because I couldn't just let it happen. So there are ways to kind of mitigate some of those issues, but it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah. So if you could just do your arbitrage with everybody through the network. Okay. So if everybody here in the group can just get a house for Bree, then she'll be all set.
My husband won't buy me any more houses. So if you guys will just buy me houses,
you're cut off.
Yeah.
It's like shoe shopping.
It's exactly like that, except a little bit more expensive.
This is the tad, right?
Yeah.
So when you market to find people to actually stay in your house, you're going to the platforms that people are going to be going to. But when you do your marketing to try to find the actual deal that you can make, how do you do that? How do you find like the TOs out there?
Networking.
Okay.
I started out, like I had a real estate agent. I was looking at the houses. It was like, okay, I think this house could work. So then I had like kind of a marketing packet of why they should pick me as a renter and what I could offer. And so I was trying to give them that and market myself, and it worked. And I got a few no's, but I got some yeses. And then I found that those weren't the ideal homeowners that I wanted. So now I don't bother with that at all. I wait for a TO or a Jeff Ship, or I wouldn't rent one of Dylan's properties, but no, I'm just kidding. I wait for someone who has a property, and then
there's red flags all over that. Yeah.
But what's really nice is like these are people that I have a relationship with. They know me, I know them. They know that it's my business. I'm not going to skip out. So I don't have to sell myself as much as I would to a stranger.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, I know through the grapevine too, I know what kind of a landlord they are. So, I can say like, oh, I hear Dylan is just a terrible landlord. Like, don't ever rent from Dylan Tanaka.
Who is this Dylan guy?
I know. I will stay away from him. But I hear Tio is great, so I'll rent Tio's place. And like, Jeff's great. His wife is super nice. I'll rent from them. And then Frank is amazing. I'll rent from him. But so it definitely, I would say networking is a big part of what I do.
Yeah. And it seems kind of like not necessarily a dream scenario for a landlord, but kind of a dream scenario from a landlord, because you're in the business of being in business as well. It's kind of like it's commercial space, Yeah. Like you really want things to go well because it, obviously it behooves you for everything to go well rather than a person who's just living there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not to knock on people, who rent, because I've rented at certain points in my life too. But yeah, it just seems like, I don't know. It just seems, I don't know why people would tell you no. Yeah. Now that you've at least established yourself,
it's people who don't understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, like, Tio can attest to this. We have different issues. Like, Tio's in Germany, and I'm like, hey, I pissed off your neighbor. Sorry. So, there's different things that come up, but it's not, I don't know. I guess, am I worse than your other tenants?
No, I've had people, I've had other Airbnb people ask to do it, and I didn't want to work with the people, right? It's like the tenant that you meet, and it's like, I want you. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that, but but it's like the same thing, right? Like
we'll edit that out.
I feel uncomfortable with this situation.
Edit it out. But no, it's like you gotta be on the same page with people to rent. Because I've had other people, offer, be like, hey, I'll rent your place out and do an Airbnb out of it, and I'm like, no, like you just not the kind of person I want to, work with.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so special now.
You should.
No, well, personality has a lot to do with your marketing strategy also. Like you try to be humorous and you try to catch the eye, and
You
then
try.
and you succeed in being humorous, right? All right on. But yeah, personality has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But these other people who asked you, did you know them? Because like I knew you for several months before
Yeah,
we ever.
no, I was like, like the way it worked out with me and Bria was just like she was talking about getting a place, and I was like, hey, I got this place that's going to be
Well,
empty.
rapport is huge.
And
Yeah, rapport in a relationship is huge because people want to do business. You know, it's a broken record. You've heard this so many times. People want to do business with other people that they know, they like, and they trust. And so when that's a huge thing about networking. You know what I mean? Like hence the network. You know.
Yeah.
So
Don't forget that Jeff Ship tried to steal that house from me.
oh,
he did.
Remember he jumped in and he was like, I want that house. I'm like, get out of here. I saw it first.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about here isn't a true, really landlord-tenant type relationship. Really, it's them building a partnership, and it's coming from that relationship, as opposed to everybody creates partnerships, but it's based on that rapport and that networking and knowing how she's going to take care of your property.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is it's like a win-win for both of us, right? Because like the area where we did it, there was no Airbnbs, there were no comps, that we didn't know if it was going to work or not, right? So what we did was like, okay, I'll take some risk, you take some risk, and then if it works, right? A lot of the other people that approached me to do it, they're like, yeah, you pretty much just take all the risk, and you know, if it doesn't work, well, we tried, and I'm good, and you're kind of shit out of luck, right? So,
Yeah. So far we've been lucky though. It's been doing really well.
good. So Frank, being a CPA and you are focused on business with investors, so I want to just hear your marketing strategy also. You know, I see your name pop up a lot. I noticed that you have a pretty heavy social media presence. There's another.
I think there's a lot to be said about somebody that carries a rental property versus somebody that getting into investing. Somebody, I see it often, that owns one or two rental properties, fell into it for whatever reason. Grandma died, they started renting her house, and there's some activity versus, I think within Metro Detroit, there's a large, strong network of groups and people, and it's really getting that rapport where the two of you ended up meeting and building that rapport and realizing they're able to do business together. And I think when Tio probably started, he didn't even think he'd be renting it as an Airbnb. And a few years ago, nobody even knew about this.
Yeah.
So, and that's really the cool thing about real estate and real estate investors, always thinking outside the box of how they're going to do things. And it's that investor versus just that landlord that has a few properties. But getting out there and just really starting to help people and work with people. Anybody can do a tax return and put some numbers there. And it's really getting to meet people, understand where they want to take their business. And I've had clients from starting out all the way through the death process and passing to the second generation. And I think a lot of people get into this through different means, but don't really look through how they're doing it. And it's working with people and understanding where they're going. So I just get out, network with different people, and try to help and offer assistance, and in that sense. So
yeah, I think
it's more relationship based.
Yeah, you have to be of a certain personality character type to work in the type of field that you work in. So like. Do you
I don't know if that's good or
no, it's good. It's good because I'm like picturing scenarios in my mind of like, maybe really pushy, fussy people who don't quite understand, like how do you deal with like the headaches, the pain in the butt people that are out there? Like how do you keep your business with somebody who is just like a pain to do business with?
I mean, I think there's a variety of clients, and some clients are paying, some are trying to push, some don't know, or they heard, or a friend told them on Facebook. And usually I like to really work with clients and explain the whole process. And someone will ask me occasionally at a meetup event or something, how do I do this? I heard this on Facebook. Well, that might work for your friend, and let's talk more. Well, I don't have time, then it's probably not necessarily, and I'll meet the person again, and
Yeah.
but
A lot of hand holding.
and I think really some hand holding and working
Mhm.
with people on that. But ultimately, if it's somebody that's trying to push into something that's flat out wrong, I would just end up saying no. Actually, had a new opportunity and this past year, and took a look and actually said wouldn't be able to do it. Had kind of referenced with some of the regulations, and
Mm-hmm.
the person didn't really need that information. As so, I don't know if it was just shopping for a CPA that would do what they want, or
Okay.
so sometimes you have to say no too. I think.
All right,
in
so you
real
hear that,
estate,
everybody?
yeah.
He's a man of integrity. Somebody trying to take advantage of him. Right.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, doing a tax return, really anybody can do a tax return. It's one of the most unregulated industries out there.
I could do my own tax return.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing, but I
or
could do it.
somebody just
Yeah.
can hang up a sign and apply for the IRS, and in about 3 weeks be up and ready and have a business and say that they're a tax expert. So
Okay.
there's really no license or designation. They eliminates you, like you can't be a real estate agent without being a licensed real estate agent. So,
Mhm.
but anybody can do a tax return, electronically file your return for you. So there's a lot of good advice, bad advice, and people hear podcasts with different information. Occasionally I'll hear some of the gurus told them to do this, and well, that doesn't really fly, and they're not doing your tax return. So,
Uh-huh.
you run into that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to know if you have any questions, for myself or Bree or Tio, because I was talking to your wife at the RIA of Macomb this past Thursday, and she's just, briefly sharing with me that you guys have like endeavors and plans to do some real estate investing yourself.
Yeah.
So and maybe you've just got the whole like strategy on lockdown, but do you have any questions, for either of us who've acquired homes in the past of like, maybe what avenues you should go down or anything like that? Or you're just going to use a realtor? I mean, I used a realtor for my first few deals.
Yep. Yeah, right now just kind of out looking and different. And I think the biggest thing is learning what you're comfortable with. I think there's Macomb, Oakland, Wayne County. There's city. There's not city. There's renting, flipping, wholesaling. It almost can spin you in circles, and it's really finding where your comfort level is. And I think on the other side, I've really picked up a lot coming to the different groups, seeing some of the people that are down in the trenches with the horror stories and all the way up to the wins and successes. So I see a lot of things happening outside of traditional larger multifamily investor. That's some people that are, I've heard stories from the people dealing with squatters all the way up to the A+ tenants. So
Yeah.
I think really still trying to find that niche of where things fall into place. So
Yeah. Yep. And then there are different avenues where you don't even have to be hands-on. You can have more of a passive, not necessarily like backseat position to it, but you don't have to be, the person doing the rehab. You don't have to be the landlord. You don't have to be the wholesaler. You could get into the investing side of investing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like just partnering with the people. Don't throw stuff at me, please. Partnering with people who actually want to do, you know what I mean, that type of stuff. And so I know that appeals to a lot of people too. And I think just probably, like you said, the best way to build this for yourself is to just network, because like I said, I did my first few deals with a realtor off the MLS and used, bank financing. Not because I wasn't aware of another way. I just didn't really see myself ever having access to it, but it's really so easy to just access a real estate investor network. It really is. Yeah. So I think that's awesome.
You could also back, I don't know, when I got my first one too, I did it through the same way. And back then you could make the numbers work, right? The way what homes cost and what you could get for rent, that worked out, right? Nowadays you can't buy something off the MLS and rent it, because you're getting a return on investment, but it's like terrible.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right on. Yeah. So you've got like a head start on the game because
yeah.
I think a lot of people get started with their first investment. They're not really finding a deal. They're just finding the best deal of the deals that aren't really deals. So.
Oh yeah, and I see that. I see that all the time on the tax side. As I said, where somebody got into a rental property and it's just they got into one or two, they lost, and I think that's where a lot of the wholesalers are coming in and picking up some deals, for that person that it was just a miserable experience. And I think the whole wholesaler networks that are out there, and there's a whole lot of opportunities here, and which is beyond what the retail of what Tio's saying. That's not really providing the returns these days.
Yeah. So like for myself, when I do my own marketing, it's very small scale. So you said you were doing like 1,000 to 2,000 a week through that service. That's awesome. I do everything my own self, which sounds incorrect, but I do everything myself, and I do it on such a small scale that if I do 100 mailers in a week, I've done a really great week because I've got like the family life balance that I've got going on, and so I'm doing everything on a smaller scale, which means I'm moving slower, but I'm still finding different things and I'm still building relationships
you're
with
also
people.
Marketing to different people, right? That's really important because if you were only doing 100 to absentee owners, you would, right? It would be like impossible, right? You're marketing towards more of a niche market where you can do that and get results, right? So I think that's really important too.
Yeah, and I
do letters.
I do letters. So I type a generic letter. At first what I did is I typed everybody's first name, like dear Brian, dear Sarah. But that took way too long. And so you've got like all of these different Word documents saved on a folder on your computer. So now I just do a generic letter and I sign it in blue ink. And then, yeah.
Have you ever heard of mail merge?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how to use it.
Okay, I can show you.
Okay.
That's like my favorite thing ever too. We're gonna have a mail merge party.
Yeah.
YouTube.
I can make a video
about 15 minutes.
Yeah, if not, I can make a video with, like I made the other one, doing the mail merge and walking through it. But yeah, that's how I did my first. That when I did my letters, that's what I used was mail merge to speed that up.
Did you learn that in college?
I didn't learn anything.
I'm just trying to find like some good that came out of your super expensive college.
Nothing.
I learned mine in college, so I was like, oh wow, at least that 40 grand was well spent because I can mail merge now.
You learned mail merge in college?
I
Nice.
didn't use my degree for anything else.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's good. Yeah, no. So just quick side note for those of you who are watching this in the group right now, you can go to the sidebar and you can search for posts. And the reason why I'm saying this is Tio made a video on it was finding absentee owners?
Absentee owners.
Yeah.
Yep. Out of state.
So there are
all absentees, and you can filter out of state. But
yeah. So aside from these podcasts and like everybody's random like Facebook Live videos that we do actually have some other educational content in the group that you can search. So if you go to the sidebar and you search posts, and I'm looking at this from like my laptop screen, not my phone.
It's at the top on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like sidebar on your actual computer. If people use actual computers, I don't know. I do. And you can just search for Tio's name, and then whatever he's posted into the group will pop up. And so he's got like a, 4 to 7 minute video. I don't even know how long he spent on it. Maybe it's 35 minutes. I don't know. I watched it. I watched it to the point where I realized that I have to have my real estate license for it first. And so I'm like, I will come back to this. I'll put a pin in it. So if you are a licensed investor, meaning you have your real estate license, he's got a video on there that teaches you how to basically you can create this list for free. It just takes a bit of effort. So yeah, it's just one of those things that like doing the thing is not that difficult. It's just trying to figure out how to do the thing that takes so much time, So I just really appreciated when I posted into the group a couple of days ago, like, how do I do a FOIA? Because somebody recommended that I do the Freedom of Information Act, for this certain information. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to do that. So yeah, if you could make a video on mail merge.
Okay. Yeah, I can
that'd
do
be
that.
cool.
But the reason I was asking if you did letters was when I did letters, I bought a paper folding machine.
Whoa.
So
Oh, cool.
It's
You're
the coolest
so
thing ever.
legit.
Legit, like I bought it and I just sat there and like folded every single paper that was in the house because it is sweet.
That's
You
awesome.
just like put all the paper in and it like spits them out folded. It is the greatest thing ever.
Oh
But,
my
yeah.
god, too.
That's awesome. No,
Our
that's
days just
fantastic.
got so easy for you. We're gonna buy you a stapler next year.
Is there a paper stuffer also?
There are machines
Or
that do
envelope
that.
stuff?
Oh, I'm sure.
They
I'm
fold
sure
in
there are.
stuff.
They have this really cool one that puts holes, 3 holes along the side in your
I got
paper
one of those
too.
too. I got one of those too. I got all the sweet contraptions.
That's awesome. Yeah, the copy machine at the school where I used to teach would staple and 3-hole punch. I thought that was pretty cool, except it always jammed when you tried to do the stapler. The stapler always jammed, and then you're in the copy room swearing. But you're at an elementary school, so you gotta swear really quietly. So my letters, when I do them, I do a generic letter because I do not know how to mail merge. And then I do a sticky note, like an obnoxiously bright colored sticky note. And then I just put the person's first name and then I write the same message on every single sticky note. It's not a personalized letter every time, but it's personalized. And so then they open it up and they see that sticky note of, Brian, blah, 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 so this isn't just me stuffing and sending a bunch of generic letters. And then I handwrite, the address on the envelope, and then I have a label and a stamp. And so I just do that over and over, like ad nauseum throughout the day, mostly nap time, or at 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning is a good time to get things done when you're a mom. It is. You're exhausted the next day, but like you get stuff done.
So so you're putting on mailing labels also?
Yeah, like a sticker
Okay.
label. Mhm.
Then that mail merge will be able to populate those labels also for you.
Yeah, and I actually just upgraded my printer. I had like a janky little printer, and I was going to a facility and paying to have my stuff printed. But I just upgraded to like a decent printer that'll do my envelopes and all sorts of stuff for me. But I kind of want it to have that personal look. I don't want it to look so mass produced. Like I want people to think that it is a letter sent specifically to them, but I don't want it to get thrown out with a Comcast ad, you know what I mean, or the city card ad or
Handwrite
anything
it.
like that. Mm-hmm.
Handwrite it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think the handwriting goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can totally tell between like handwritten font and actual handwriting.
Handwritten
right?
font is lame. Like I just think that's lame. Like, this is
Yes,
just
you
a
can.
lame. Yeah, this is just you trying a little too hard.
I could never be a wholesaler
To
because I
be
can't write in
genuine.
a straight line. So like the first line's good, but then the bottom line's like it's horrible. So
Well,
now I know
that's-
wholesaling's out for me.
Well, that's like the perfect way to do it.
So I let my second grader do this for you.
What about like wedding invitation size? Now, would that get open more than just a regular junk mail letter?
Yeah, and that's why I was interested in Tio's postcard, because it's, instead of just the standard letter, the postcard might be more interesting. Or I can trick people into thinking that it's my wedding. I could even get like the little labels with like the bride and groom, little image on them, and then it'll
just
be
need it
like,
open.
surprise, I just want to buy your house.
Put like an
Nobody's
IRS
getting
stamp
married.
on there. That'll get them to open it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if that's legal. But
I don't know if that's legal. I don't know. Somebody gave advice from his truck yesterday on how to do illegal USPS activities, but that's sanctioned here in the group, so I guess anything goes. But yeah, so my marketing is super, super small scale, but I still get a hold of people, and I don't know. Maybe part of it is just because I'm a little bit like jaded and cynical, but like I am building genuine relationships with people, but they also kind of like annoy me too at the same time, because they want, like when
like
you
dating.
are, well, yeah, exactly. And then you get, you know what I mean, to, you get to third base and you just want to be done. I just want to be done with that relationship. Yeah. So this is where we're going today. And this
So-
is also why I don't look off to the right either.
I know.
So
We
you
need
said-
something a little stronger in these cups here.
You said you call them. Do you use like some sort of dialer, or do you just type it in and call? And how do you
Yeah,
make your calls?
I got Google Voice on my phone, so I just call through that. And it's the same phone number on my business card. It's the only like separate line that I use. And then I will do 2 phone calls. And if it's 2 no's, then they just go. And like I have like a very what's the word? Very like not sophisticated binder system. It's just a bunch of 3-ring binders with like labels on the side. And so one binder says follow-ups. So they'll go in follow-ups, and like inside the binder just has, January through December tab. And I just stick them like, I'll call you back in a month or 2 months. And so they just go in the, 2 months from now tab. And then 2 months from now, I'm calling those people.
Your CRM.
Yeah, I know. It's like, dinosaur age or something like that.
I did the same thing. I used the notebook at first, so it works, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking all of my notes in a notebook. I have a special 25-cent notebook. You know what I mean? That my husband and my children are not allowed to touch or color in, but some of them do have like scribbles on the pages. But no, and it's like, and it sounds so ingenuine, but I'm building genuine relationships with people. But at times they can be annoying because I will spend 45 minutes to an hour on the phone, especially when I'm calling my probate properties, because a lot of these people are older, and they just have so many stories about all of these grandchildren that they want to tell you. And so there's a lead that I've been working with. She's the one I'm working with the most this current week, the last 2 weeks. And she's just got a lot to say every time I call her. And I genuinely want to care, and I do to a degree, but a little bit of it is, you're just on the phone like, and you're just trying to build that relationship and that rapport. And,
so
like,
she's probably like a pretty hot lead then that you're spending.
Well, I hope so, but I don't know, because she has told me that she has like 30 other people who are prospecting her for this property too, which is part of the reason why, like I posted that question to David Sobel in the group the other day, because she asked me a question.
I love this question.
On those
you
probate-
have to share.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if I want to put her on blast, but I guess I already put it on blast in the group anyway. But yeah, no, it's just...
But it's a legit question that people may ask. It's kind of funny, but...
Yeah, no, it's just she and her siblings hate each other, and she doesn't want to sell her deceased brother's property to either of her siblings or their descendants until the end of time. And so she just wanted to, she was asking me, like, I don't know if she can write a clause in the purchase agreement that states that, whomever purchases the home is not allowed to sell the home to any relatives. So and I knew the answer was no, but I just wanted to hear it, out of the mouth of a real estate attorney anyway. So I just thought it was so valuable that I could go into the Facebook group and ask that question. And what was really cool is he didn't type his response back to me. He gave me his phone number, and he like Facebook messaged me his phone number, and he's like, give me a call. And he talked it out with me on the phone. And that was just really cool to be able to hear him so eloquently tell me no, you know what I mean? Like he was no, but it was like a paragraph of legal jargon no, that I was able to take back to her.
With these probate properties, I mean, you're saying if the family has these issues, you also run into who's on title and even running the title work.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to run into those if there's some title issues or family. And sometimes with these probates, things were put on years ago that no one ever thought of. And as you're building that rapport with these people, but it's really, as all these other people are marketing to her, it's that relationship that you're building with her, being able to get these things done for her. I think that'll help. So,
yeah. So I don't know what sidebar conversations are going off to the side, but I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that. Are we still good on time? Okay. All right. So
what's your next step for marketing?
Yeah. So I don't know how to, if I'm going to continue to do it myself, I think I'm just kind of like where I'm at right now. I think my next step for marketing is my children grow up and go to school. I think that's it. And then I'll just have more time on my hands. Or
fancy paper folders.
Right. Or I learn how to sleep, just live on 2 hours of sleep a night. But no, the point I'm making is, even though I'm still doing stuff small scale and I only have, a set amount of time to designate to marketing in the week, I'm still talking to people. I still have leads. I was still able to close a deal this year. And I'm able to pursue different avenues. So I'm not just marketing to wholesaling. By the way, I don't know if I introduced that the whole thing that I was talking about was to wholesale property, but I'm also pursuing rental properties as well. And so that was the whole FOIA thing was, how do I find a list of distressed landlords or people who are, motivated to sell me their properties and things like that. So my focus, because people say like, don't focus on like so many different things, just focus on one thing. My focus right now is really on marketing, which is why I wanted to have this conversation with you guys in the first place, because I do want to know, like, how can I do more with what I have right now, like, the time and the capital and whatever. And then just also like, I'm open to whatever comes along. If somebody wants to partner and do a fix and flip, or, do some sort of, if I can pick up a rental property or if I can do a wholesale deal, that's fine. I've done all three, so I'm comfortable with all three. So I need to narrow my focus on like, how can I expand my marketing? How can I, touch and talk to, more leads and things like that, with the limited amount of time that I have. So
you kept saying time.
Yeah.
And I think everyone says that, right? But have you ever written down like for a whole week every single thing you do, and then like sat down and like audited all the times that you like waste time? Have you ever done that?
I don't know if I want to come to that level of accountability.
Well, it's not
and
accountability.
Self-reflection. No, it is. It
being
is
aware of
self-accountability. Yeah.
Because I did the same thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time." But then, like, when you sit down and like you pick up your phone and you sit on Facebook for like an hour, and then on Instagram for like 2 hours, and then play stupid games or watch Netflix or all that stuff, and then you look at it and it's like, holy crap! It's like I'm doing this for like 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that could be 5 hours where I'm making cold calls, where I'm, building a list, where I'm making money, like actually moving forward. So I'd say try doing that.
No, that is a great idea.
Because I've done that for myself, and I've realized that you waste a lot of time doing
we have done that, my husband and I, with our budget. When we were first married, we sat down and we wrote down. We tried to do it for a month. I think we were consistent for about 2 weeks. Yeah. But we wrote down everything that we were spending, and there was just a lot of over expenditure on stupid stuff. Yeah. And so we really honed it. We really honed it in, because that was when we were first married. We were renting an apartment and we were trying to save for our first home. Yeah. And so
Thanks a lot, Blair. My husband's pointing at me from across the room now.
Sorry.
Yeah, we don't talk about the B word in our house.
Sorry, but
budget's a bad word.
budget is cuss word.
Okay. Yeah, but all that savings could be put toward a down payment on a new property.
On your next
now
Airbnb.
You're just talking sense here.
Right. But back.
I mean, 100 days of Starbucks, $10 a day. You're at like $3,000.
It's like $3.95. All right.
Yeah. That was one of the first things to go, though.
Are you going to Starbucks in 2003?
I know. No, that was one of the first things to go, because I had a commute when I was teaching. I had a commute, and we didn't have a coffee pot, so I would go to Starbucks every single morning, 5 mornings a week. That's $25 a week. And you can just buy a coffee pot for $25.
And your kids are still young enough, but you'll find that they get to the stage where you can't order yourself something and not give the vultures in the back seat something.
Yeah.
So my $3.95 coffee plus their stuff turns into like $10.
It actually works pretty easy if you tell them no. See, like my wife and I used to go to Starbucks. Now I just get one and she does without. That's
That's not where I saw that going.
No, actually, I asked her if she wanted a coffee the other day. She said no. I said, well, what if I had a coupon, buy one, get one free? She said, okay, sure. We went there, and I went to go pay, and she said, I thought you had a coupon. I said, no, I just said, what if I had one?
And next week, we'll have Mrs. Alcini to talk about what to do with your money after a divorce.
but see, I was able to treat my wife to a coffee.
There you go.
Right on. No, but I think that is really good advice, because I think that that's probably one of my main complaints is time blocking. And just because my time blocking in my general day is inconsistent too, because there's, two huge variables in my life, and their name are Jack and Ben. And so, it doesn't always go according to plan. So I'm saying that we are getting the wrap it up signal, so we're going to close it out today.
You've been listening to the Michigan Real Estate Investor Network podcast. Just call it the network. To subscribe to the show, go to www.michiganreinetwork.com, where you can have the show sent right to your inbox. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. If you'd like to be on a future show, there's a link on the site to submit your info. The network is 100% focused on the Michigan real estate investing community. Whether you're brand new or a grizzled vet, we want you to be a part and share the love.